Top of the morning to everybody. A guy just went by my office in a wheelchair, pushing himself with his feet. Okay, we're going to do a little discussion on build in and build out in Motion and how it works in Final Cut Pro. I've created this little live title up here and has no animation yet, so we're going to animate it real quick, and then I'll put in the markers for build in and build out and show you what they do. But first we'll show you how the animation goes. Okay, when I animate things, I lay it out first. And then once I'm done laying it out, I will come in and animate it. And I animate backwards, at least with the beginning, the intro animation, I do it backwards. How I do this is, in this case it's the mask, I go to where I want my animation to end. And right now it's going to be at 1 second. And then I'll go and find the keyframe of whatever I'm going to animate. In this case it will be the X. And I'll just hit a keyframe here. And then I go back to the beginning. Now once you've hit a keyframe in Motion, you don't have to hit them anymore. Every time you go and make a new move, it will automatically add keyframes. So what I do is I go to the beginning and I just simply drag this over, and you can see that it added a keyframe right there, right here, and it's done. So it has a slide in motion there. Now here at the end, however, because I'm not making a move from 1 second over to 9 seconds, I'm going to add a keyframe there just to make sure it doesn't move in between those 2 points. Now I go to the end and I just slide it back over, and there's my intro and outro. Alright, now Final Cut Pro does not know how to treat this. So I'm going to save it right as it is. This is a 10-second title. Now I'll come back over here into Final Cut Pro and just drag this and drop it in here. Now at 10 seconds, it's great. At 10 seconds, my animation will be 1 second in, 8 seconds of playback of still frame, no movement, and 1 second out. So there's 1 second in, and it plays and plays and plays. And then 7, 8, 9, 1 second out. I know it's over his head, but I didn't make this title for this. I'm just doing it for fun or for the lesson. Okay, now I'm going to shorten it down to 2 seconds. You'd think, okay, that's 1 second in, 1 second out. Well, Final Cut Pro, I haven't told Final Cut Pro where my animation begins and where it ends. Only Motion knows that. According to Final Cut Pro, it's a percentage within the title. So watch what happens. Zink and zink. It goes in and out so fast. If I make it long, the same thing will happen in reverse. It'll get really slow. So now instead of the animation being 1 second long, it's going to be 3 seconds long. All right, so watch what happens. Zoink. Not even zoink. It's like, it takes forever. All right, here's the outro. He's all mad, but it still takes forever for it to leave. So that's where the build in and build out comes into play. So we go ahead and we open this back up in Motion. And we find where we started our animation. And we click in this gray area to make sure that nothing is selected, because we want to make a mark, but we don't want to make a mark on any of our layers. So as long as none of these are selected, we can hit the letter M and create a mark. Nothing comes up when we hover over the mark. Okay, we'll come back here to 829, do the same thing. So we have 2 markers, one 1 second after the beginning and one 1 second before the end. And when we hover over these markers, nothing happens. So now what I'm going to do is create a build-in. And how you do this is you right-click on the marker and you hit Edit. And you can choose the different types of markers. You have a build-in mandatory and a build-in optional. I'm going to choose the optional first. And you can see the marker changes, and when you hover over it, it tells you what kind of marker it is. And there's also this orange bar that comes along the top. We'll do the same to the outro part. We'll call it build out optional. So there it is. Now the orange section is only here and not here. See that? Okay, let's go ahead and save it. And once it's been saved, we go back into Final Cut Pro and we can drop it in here. Okay, so when we make it 10 seconds, it's going to be exactly the same as the other one because it's still the 1 second intro, 1 second outro. So this isn't going to change. So instead, let's go ahead and make this 30 seconds and let's see how this is affected. Now notice the entire thing is unrendered. All right. Now, on the other one, it was a 3 second intro. This one, 1, 2, 3. It's only 1 second long. Let's go to the end and see what it looks like. His commercial was short. All right. Let's take it down to 2 seconds. Let's go 2:10 actually. No, 2:15. Right there. 2:11. Whatever. And we'll go ahead and render it all. All right. Now look at this. 1 second in, 1 second out. Like almost instantly. So what's happening? Well, what's happening is the intro and the outro, by placing these marks and calling them build in and build out, have become static as far as their time, their length. So this will always remain 1 second here and 1 second here, no matter what. If you do make your title shorter than 2 seconds, let me just warn you this. It favors the build-in. All right, so if I make this shorter than 2 seconds, it does the build-in and then cuts the build-out. So as soon as it's done with the build-in, it's already processing the build-out. So don't do that. Okay? This is static. It's not going to change. It's a set length. This, however, is ramped. Final Cut Pro interpolates the difference between this and this and figures out what's going to happen. Now, some funky things can happen if you play with any animations in the middle here. For example, let's throw in, let's go into our library in the behaviors in the text sequence, and let's throw a glow through. It's open. We'll go ahead and throw it in there. Shorter than that. Let's do this. Oh, and then let's also do this. Let's take this rectangle. Let's make it change colors a few times. So right now it's red. We can keyframe that. Let's put at 1 second, let's put purple. Let's do every second a different color. Blue. Now that'll take forever. Five, do green, 6, yellow, green, 7, orange, 8 back to red, and then we'll just make it go purple again. Now this time we'll just make it go back to yellow. Yeah, why not? And back to green. Alright, so here's our 10-second title. We can see it shifting, and then we've got that glow through. Looks pretty cool. Alright, it's decent. Speed is decent. Everything's good. So we save it. Okay, now that it's saved, when we go back into Final Cut Pro, we got to get rid of this old one because the old one has old information and old render files and stuff. So we'll put this in here. This is 10 seconds. Let's go ahead and render this baby and see what it does. Should look fairly normal, just like Motion did when we were previewing it there. Not too bad. Okay, let's slow it down. Wink. This probably won't look too bad because slowing it down would look kind of nice with the color transitions and everything. Even the glow through will be okay, kind of slow. So it shouldn't look too bad. But we always have to keep in mind what happens in between the build in and the build out markers. Okay, let's watch it. Comes in. Now the color changes slow. You can't really tell what's going on. And here's the glow through. It's coming through. It's nice and slow. Maybe a little too slow. Okay. So Final Cut Pro ramps that time there. Let's take it to 3 seconds. A little over 3 seconds. All right, now watch what happens. Whoa! Party in the city there. Did you see that? It's like a disco. The disco live title. Look at that. Or a rave. It's a live rave. Okay. So we've seen what can happen with that. So you always have to be cautious about what's going on between here and here. It's a good idea to be aware of this. If you're going to make a title that you know is going to be 3 or 4 seconds long, the best thing to do is to make your template 3 or 4 seconds long. You can do that in several places. One of them being project properties, or if you make a new template, right in here you can change the length right there in duration. So if you know what you're going to go for, do it. If it's going to be something that's different all the time, or that's going to be different length all the time, try not to keep too many animations in here so that you don't have to worry about that. All right, one more thing. These are built-in optionals, okay, and build out optional. So if I throw this in here like this, let's make it short because I don't want to render too long. And if I were to remove build out, all of a sudden, that animation between 20 frames and the outro are gone. I don't know why it's getting choppy there. But watch, it's just going to pop away. Boink. It's gone. So what it did was it animated here, animated to here, and cut the title right there. So this section does not exist on that title. All right, that's a build out optional. How you do that is you click here on the title. Once you've built it, you click here on the title, and you can click on the build in and build out check marks to make it decide whether you want it to build in or build out. What if you don't want people to do that? What if you don't want to be able to change that option? Well, right click on this and edit marker. And instead of choosing an optional, choose a mandatory. And watch what happens when I save it. All right, so now that I've saved it, I take it over here in Final Cut Pro, shorten it up, whatever, it doesn't matter. But I look up here. There's only the build out option. I have no choice. I have to have a build-in. Now, I don't know how long that build-in is, but I have to have it. What happens is, if you've created, let's say you've got like a 3-second build-in and a 3-second build-out, but your title is only going to be 7 seconds long, and you've got stuff in here, you just don't want it to take forever, you can turn the build-in and build-out off. Or, let's say you've got a 4-second build-in and a 4-second build-out, but your title is only 6 seconds long. Well, you can turn one of those options off so that it doesn't do that weird jumpy thing that it did when I made this short. Okay, so for example here, see how it builds in nice right there, but then all of a sudden it's like almost gone. Builds in, and then from that point turns green and is gone. if I remove the build out, I don't have to worry about it disappearing like that. It'll just disappear on its own. Looks slightly better. Not that much better. Because the flashing colored disco stuff looks a little weird. Okay, so that's a lesson on the build in and build out markers in titles in Final Cut Pro. I mean in Motion to take over to Final Cut Pro. What they do, how it makes this entrance makes this entrance a static length and the exit a static length and the interim to be ramped. All right. So that's my lesson for today. If you like it, go ahead and leave a like. And if you have any questions or you'd like me to do something in particular, please feel free to send me a comment or send me a message, whatever you want to do. I'll try to answer whatever I can and maybe even make a video out of it. All right. Thank you very much for watching.